Hi, this is Matt. I'm here with Maiken and Stephanie. Our group project for SW503 is a two-class project, class exercise project. First, we're going to be using NVC, nonviolent communication, with a three-person group. It's going to be a teacher, a parent, and a social worker. The topic is an issue where a student is having gender identity issues and transitioning in a middle school environment and is being bullied during school. So the first exercise is a nonviolent communication exercise between a parent, social worker, and
I will be playing the social worker role.
I will be playing the parent.
I will be playing the teacher.
Okay. So for starters, I wanted to know what Matthew, as the teacher, what did you observe happening in the classroom that brought this issue to your attention?
Our student, who now goes by Samantha, has been experiencing bullying and intimidation during classroom hours between classes.
What have you seen?
We have seen the student being pushed. We have seen the student being sometimes threatened. Sometimes we're seeing the student being made fun of, having names called to her, things like that, things that are becoming an issue, a distraction in our class. Not only that, but also I'm concerned with the student's safety as well.
Isn't that your responsibility as the teacher to make sure that my child is in a safe environment? And so, my daughter has the bravery to come out and to now be who she says she is. And I feel like it's maybe your responsibility, Matthew. She is in your classroom, and I trust that when she goes to class or her school, that she'll be in a safe environment.
So
we're all about personal expression. Every child is different, and we want to make sure that the school is full of people that can express themselves freely. That's part of an education, to be able to learn information, but also express yourselves. We're all about that. My concern is that some of the students may not take it the right way what Samantha's trying, and it leads to a bad situation for her. And we want to make sure that there's maybe steps we can take to put her in a better position.
So, Maiken, from your aspect as a parent, I heard that you'll have a lot of animosity towards the situation, and it sounded like a lot of blame. Could you try and tell us what you've observed from your daughter that makes you feel all this, rather than the actual feelings themselves, but more of the observational?
Well, when my daughter comes home, after day of her crying and being upset because people are picking on her, I feel sad for my daughter. It makes me feel concerned about the environment that she's being in, and I really would need some cooperation from the school or the teacher to maybe talk to some of those students and try to explain what Samantha is going through.
So you feel that a good idea for the teacher, like your request for the school, would be to actually have an open forum where you discuss this, because Samantha might not be the only child that ever experiences this.
Yes, absolutely. My girl, she identifies as a girl, and she will only continue to grow as a girl. And I want the school to know that this is not going to change. And I want Samantha at school, and I really like the teachers there, and I really like you, Matthew, but it hurts me to see my daughter come home being so upset all the time.
And that's why I made sure I came to the meeting today, because Samantha's safety is important. It is hard for students their age to understand what that means. We want to make sure everybody's important, and it's something that may be hard to explain. It's not something that comes up in our textbooks. I mean, we do have stuff in biology class, things like that. We talk about reproduction and things like that and transition, but it's not something that we talk about too much, and so the kids don't have a real good understanding.
There is one student in particular who seems to really be bullying Samantha, and that's Chuck.
Okay.
I do believe that Chuck, and ironically, Samantha used to be good friends. They played on the soccer team together, and they really, I know Chuck's mom very well, and it is concerning to me that he's now bullying her and name-calling her.
Have
They
you
did used to be friends.
observed this, Matthew? Have you seen Chuck being verbally aggressive?
I have noticed that one time in particular, they were walking in between classes, and it is something that I noticed at the beginning of the year. They were on good terms, and then as soon as Samantha started wearing different clothes or wearing hair differently, starting to grow out a little bit, I did notice Chuck has been sort of standoffish or even antagonistic, trying to start a fight. A lot of our boys try to start fights for various reasons, but it does seem like Chuck wants to sometimes prove a point. So I have
He's
seen that.
targeting her is what he's doing. He's absolutely targeting her, and it really is affecting her emotional well-being, as well as her schoolwork. I don't know if you've noticed, Matthew, but her schoolwork has absolutely gone down. I can see the grades that she's getting.
Do you think that Chuck sees it this way? I mean, they are young boys. Do you think that he views it to understanding her feelings and what Sam is going through right now? Or do you think that he more so is just so confused by the situation that he doesn't fully understand how to process it? Do you think it might be worth Sam and him sitting down and having a conversation about things?
They weren't always fighting, and so I think there's a good chance that if we did get them to sit down and talk, I think they have a good history together, and I think that it would be a good chance for them to get things more out in the open and have a better understanding. Something that just isn't quite possible with the time constraints that we have during class. I mean, they have three to 4 minutes in between classes that they have to give from one to the other, and we all run out of time, but we do know that this is something that needs to be addressed. That's why I made sure I came and wanted to speak with you guys.
So, Mike,
Well, I definitely think, sorry, Stephanie.
No, go
I
ahead.
just want to address that, Matt. I definitely think that this is something that we do need to make time for. And I know that Samantha has come to me several times stating that, she does feel very hurt by this, and she does want to talk to Chuck. But I think it needs to be in a safe environment where she doesn't feel like she is going to be judged by the rest of the classroom. Is there a type of environment or situation that you could maybe sit the two of them down in, that they can talk about this and see if there is any resolution to this? Or do I need to come in and address this with Chuck or his mom or the class themselves?
So I think we could go like two routes here. I think that Matthew should facilitate, since he is their teacher and he knows both of them very well and he's with them every day, he should facilitate a meeting between Chuck and Sam alone. And I also think that it needs to be either building wide, they need to have some sort of diversity LGBT training going on with their teaching staff, but also that Matthew personally could address his class, or Mike, and if you would feel more comfortable and he'd be okay with that, you could go in and address the class.
I would have. I'm sorry.
I'm okay, and I really would like to have the opportunity to speak to the class. So, Matthew, if there's anything that you can't do, then I think I need to step in, unless you have any other suggestions, because it really gets me very upset.
I think this would be a very good learning opportunity. I welcome you to come into our class, because all of our students know what's going on, but a lot of them are afraid to say something. It's only because this is something that Chuck did that was in view of everyone that I was able to bring this to the table. But I'm not surprised that there are other issues going on. So we'd be more than happy to bring you in and help give them a little bit better understanding as somebody who lives with somebody that's going through this process, and help them, because I think the more they know and the more they understand, the less likely that they would feel uncomfortable to the point of using violence and hurtful.
And
Yes.
So can we set up a meeting for this to happen within, I would say within this week? I'd like to get Samantha in as soon as possible, and I also that she needs to go in very honest and open, but also hopefully, Matthew, you will have an environment so that both Chuck and Samantha are able to speak freely and comfortably with each other, and hopefully we can get to some resolution at the end of this. So maybe you can set something up this week.
We can definitely do that. We have a couple exams that we're working on, and then the days after that are pretty good, so we can definitely.
And I think that Matt has been very empathetic towards this whole situation, and I feel like that if we talk to Chuck and he can remember the good times between them, maybe there'll be some empathetic gestures and things from him as well, or at least just a stop to whatever the bullying situation is. So do we feel like we've come to a good agreement on this?
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate you coming in and working with us, and I'm sure that we'll be in touch. And Matthew, you just let me know the day, and I will be there to drop off Stephanie. And then if you have any other concerns or questions for me, I'll be available.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.